Hi, Commissioner Bigelow. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Well, it is now 6 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order for the April 19th, 2023 Redevelopment Commission meeting. Staff, would you please take roll call?
Chairman Clausen,
Present?
Vice Chair Kendall,
Here.
Commissioner Baugh, Commissioner Bigelow,
Here.
Commissioner Updike.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Amanda. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters not on the agenda. The Commission's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Are there any communications from citizens at this time?
Mr. Chairman, we have no requests for communications from citizens at this time.
Thank you. We now move into administrative item number 1, which is considering the approval of minutes for the regular meeting held on January 18th, 2023. Are there any edits the Commission wishes to make? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting's minutes for January 18th, 2023?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes from January 18th, 2023.
I second.
All right. At this time, I'll take a roll call vote. Chairman Kendall?
Yes.
Chairman Bigelow?
Yes.
Chairman Updike?
Yes.
And I also vote yes to approve the meeting minutes for January 18th, 2023. Thank you, Commissioners. Next, we will hear a Heritage District update from Sydney Bethel Price.
We're having a little technical difficulties. I'll have it up in just a second. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for standing by on that. Only our second time in this room, still getting the hang of it. Good evening, Commission. My name's Sydney Bethel Price. I'm with the Office of Economic Development. And I'm here today, I'm going to provide a Heritage District update. We thought we'd take this opportunity today to provide an overview of some Heritage District-specific plans, codes, and documents, just since we have this opportunity, and we also have a new commissioner on there. So it's always good to review some of these specific Heritage District items and also our overarching Gilbert codes and plans and documents that help govern your decisions. So please feel free to ask me questions while I'm presenting on this section. Also, I'll leave time at the end so that we can follow back up if you have any particulars. First, I just wanted to provide an overview here, starting with at the top, the vision. So the visioning documents that not only dictate the development of Gilbert, but also the Heritage District specifically. So a document you're very familiar with is the general plan, which is the 20-year vision for the entire town. Additionally, we have the redevelopment plan, which in conjunction with the general plan has a specific redevelopment plan for 10 years for the Heritage District. Going into actual implementation standards, we have the Land Development Code, which is Town of Gilbert's zoning ordinance. So this dictates the development for private and public developments here in Gilbert. We also have the Heritage District Design Guidelines, so this is what specifically applies to the Heritage District. It is an element of the Land Development Code, so it does have guiding principles for the aesthetics of the Heritage District and the architecture along with the built urban environment. And additionally, it also has standards in there that have to be enforced. So additionally, we have some other tools that we use in order to achieve the vision of the Heritage District in Gilbert. A big one that you hear about a lot is our CIP book, or our Capital Improvement Plan and Infrastructure Improvement Plan. Much easier to say CIP book. So that outlines all of our plans for proposed capital improvement projects, so infrastructure projects, streets, roads, bridges, public amenities for the next 10 years. And then we also have a myriad of different individual studies that are specific to the Heritage District that are conducted over time for either specific projects or long-range visioning documents. So I'll just briefly dive in a little bit to each one of those documents I talked about and how they specifically relate to the Heritage District. So the general plan, obviously very general, very large, covers all of Gilbert. It is the vision for the town for the next 20 years. It was recently adopted in 2020. So specific to the Heritage District, there's 3 elements that I just want to highlight. First, our land use category, Village Center. So that is specific to the Heritage District and encourages the type of mixed-use development that we're trying to achieve. Additionally, the Heritage District is identified as a growth area, so that is an area within the town in which we're expected to have continued growth over the next 20 years. And then it's also a character area, so these are unique areas within the town that we want to celebrate the distinct character and make sure we encourage that over time or protect it. And then diving into the redevelopment plan, again, this is the 10-year plan specifically for the Heritage District. So I'll go into this a little bit more further in the presentation, but we are halfway through, or we will officially be halfway in August of 2023 of this 10-year plan that was adopted in 2018. Our current redevelopment plan is the 4th one we've had in the Heritage District, with the first one being adopted in 1991. It has strategies for redevelopment of the area. It has short-term and long-term goals. And then it also has a master planning component, which was new to this most specific 2018 one, that goes over ideal developments and development patterns for all of the town-owned land. So again, this is just showing you kind of some of those elements that are included in there. Again, the big highlight from the 2018 plan that was different from past ones is that master planning component that has really helped us drive the Heritage District into the future in these last few years. So moving from our visioning into our actual implementation standards, again, the Land Development Code. So I just highlighted here some specific sections for the Heritage District. So these tools, and these are things that you enforce during the design review process, since you serve as the design review board for the Heritage District. So I just want to highlight that the Heritage District, again, has its own zoning district. So I have the zoning map up there on the right-hand side. So everything you see in purple there is Heritage Village Center zoning district, which is our mixed-use zoning district that's specific to the downtown. So that's how we get those pedestrian-oriented setbacks in there. That's how we kind of have the step-back standards and some of those unique elements to the downtown to encourage our development in a different pattern than other more suburban places in Gilbert. Additionally, we have a overlay district that goes over the entire district. So what this does is this helps all of those zoning districts that aren't specifically HVC in the downtown. So you'll see there's some multifamily, there's some single family, there's some public facility. We have other zoning districts down there that we don't necessarily need to change to the Heritage Village Center, but this specific overlay allows them to have more flexible development standards that blend better with that mixed-use zoning that we have in the center. So, for example, Lacey Tract is zoned SF6, but those houses were constructed 50 to 100 years ago. They have some more reduced setbacks and some different lot coverage requirements, and they also have some different dimensional standards for their standard lot widths to reflect that historical nature of that neighborhood that's going to be different than what you see for a different community that was developed, say, in 2010 in Gilbert. So again, too, we have some unique parking regulations, some unique sign regulations, and then also the Land Development Code houses some of the powers and duties of the Redevelopment Commission as well. And then again, just the design guidelines, so this plays right into that land development code. This has, the design guidelines have guidelines and standards for private and public developments in the Heritage District. They apply to all new developments and substantial building or alteration. So if you are to substantially alter your building, you do have to come in conformance with these standards. They were adopted in 2021, so they are more recent. We had a previous version from 2010. So if you're doing a minor exterior development or those things, it may not apply, but any substantial has to, and all new developments are required to. And then in case you haven't seen it, because I know it's a very exciting book, the capital improvement plan here, I just wanted to highlight that in addition to having many sections that cover all of the very important services that Gilbert offers, we have a specific section in the capital improvement book just for the Heritage District. It's called the redevelopment section, so I just highlighted it here so you can take a look at that. So these are all the projects that are proposed over the next 10 years that are specifically in the Heritage District. So you'll see other projects like Water Tower Plaza that has a PR number, so that's a Parks and Rec number. So even though it's in the Heritage District, that's why you might see that little misconnection there, but you can always see a majority of the projects just by referencing here every year, so it's very helpful to see what's going on and kind of what's planned. And what you'll notice if you look at a lot of these projects is a majority of them directly come from our redevelopment plan. So we have our redevelopment plan, we have other guiding documents, and that's how we move forward and decide to apply for CIP projects and submit them to council to see if they'll be approved. And this is just a snapshot of, you know, you always got to study things before you implement them. So there's multiple studies and other types of small singular plans that are happening in the Heritage District all the time. So you'll see, for example, you guys recently were aware of the Paseo, now called Water Tower Way, those 15% plans. So we needed to have a 15% pre-design set so that we could understand how we would develop that in phases and what it'd look like, because it's going to take us about 10 years to go forward with that. And other things like our Heritage District Stormwater Study that covers the entire district and how we're managing stormwater. So these are more individual, independent studies, but these are what are happening behind the scenes as well, where we're gathering feedback and input of how to better improve the district and make sure we're making the right decisions. So I know I just went over a lot. Do we have any questions before I move on to the quarterly status update for the Heritage District? We're feeling good? All right. So I'll move into the second one. So we just thought it would be helpful to provide that brief overview, and it's always good to just do a refresher every year. So currently happening in the Heritage District in the last quarter, starting in calendar year 23, we do have 3 active construction projects. So we have about 9 CIP projects that technically are on the books for FY23, but we have 3 that are currently happening in the Heritage District and are on track. The first one being Water Tower Plaza. So you guys have seen this as well. This is planned to break ground in the fall of this year, and it'll take about 11 to 12 months to complete construction. We also have located on the southwestern portion of our district some ADA sidewalk repairs in the Greenhaw neighborhood, along with some of the foundation around the Heritage Annex building. So that's actually part of a 6-phase plan. We did Lacey Tract on the west side of the district last year, and now we're doing the east side of the district in one singular phase in order to improve all our sidewalks as one of our oldest sections of town to bring them up to ADA standards so that we're providing equitable access for everyone. And then additionally, Vaughan Ventilator and Vaughan Basin relocation, those projects have been combined together. We are currently in design for that, so that's going to be located in the northwestern portion of the district. So we're going to take Vaughan Avenue, where it dead ends on the west side, run it up parallel to the railroad tracks, and then connect out to Neely so that we can have a ventilator or a western access that goes up to Guadalupe. So that's a big project that will make huge improvements to our traffic circulation in the downtown. Additionally, that little portion of that 3-acre retention basin will need to be relocated for this project, since the road does go through there. So this gives us an opportunity to I reference that stormwater master plan. That master plan gave us some options where we could relocate the basin and improve our stormwater retention in the Heritage District to make sure that we're meeting those standards. And this project is not planned to break ground until the spring of 2024. So it's about 4 months into the design phase, so it has quite a long time to go, but it's always good to know what's coming up and what we're working on. And going back to studies or things that are in pre-design, so we don't have anything in pre-design right now, but we do have 3 studies that we've been working on. Again, you've heard about this one, the Heritage District Parking Master Plan. So we did our last master plan in 2015, so we're just updating this master plan in order to make decisions about parking in the future for the Heritage District. Additionally, we have a circulation plan, so that one is in order to understand, like how we identified the Vaughn ventilator as a western access, if there's other opportunities to improve circulation in the Heritage District as we approach build-out. And additionally, we are almost closed up with this project. It's taken a little over 2 years, but we have a Heritage District utility infrastructure study. So this is more of an internal document or used for people to develop in the Heritage District, but it compiled all of our public and private utilities and provided suggestions on when we're going in and doing CIP projects or there's private projects coming in, what needs to be upgraded, what's missing, so that we can better coordinate development in the district, avoid ripping up roads multiple times, provide this amenity if someone's seeking to develop down there, and just make everything a smoother process. So on some fun things, businesses are always a lot more fun than talking about studies. Now open, you probably heard quite a bit about Big Chicken opening. So it's a fast casual dining restaurant that opened in the Heritage District where Pomo used to be over in Heritage Marketplace. We also had State 48 Apparel, long awaited, open in the CoLab. So that is the last of 4. We've been hearing a long time about that ground floor in the CoLab, so very excited to see that fill out, and they had a very wonderful opening, and the CoLab is just doing great over there with all the businesses. Additionally, coming soon, we have Prep and Pastry, which is planning to open up in May. So again, that's going to be at Building 313, where Dubai used to be on the ground floor. They had some delays, but now they're up and running and they're ready to go. Mug and Shot, you probably heard about this, is going to go at Bar 100 North, so that's in the south side of the district. It is going to become Mug and Shot, which is a sports bar type concept. And they are anticipated to open in April, but I do not know the exact date. So moving on to placemaking projects. So as you know, last year we had a traffic control cabinet mural. We had 2 put in the Heritage District, and we have our wonderful artist, Ariana, displayed here from last year. We did submit out a call for artists last month, and it closed on Monday, and we did get 18 applications, and we will be having a panel review the artist submittals on May 1st to make a selection so that we can add another one to the Heritage District. So we do have another traffic control cabinet located at Gilbert Road in the Western Power Line Trail right outside of Barrio Queen. So we're able to select a wonderful artist, get another mural in there, and kind of beautify that area. Just as a reminder, a lot of the boxes that you see throughout the town and even in the Heritage District are privately operated. So in the Heritage District, it's usually APS. In the rest of the town, it's usually SRP. So that's why we're limited. We only have 5 traffic control cabinets. So those are town cabinets in the Heritage District. So after this, we'll only have 2 more locations we can go. Everything else is APS or a private utility company that will not let us put art. So we're really excited to keep going with this program, and we hope to do more in the future, but we do get that question a lot, so I just wanted to kind of be like, why aren't you covering up those really big ugly ones across from Hearn Way, you know, the parking garage? It's because they are privately owned. So we're really excited to bring this into the Heritage District, and you should see it this summer. And we did another fun placemaking project. So this is kind of a temporary type installation. So we had a local artist design 4 posters in the Heritage District. So they're different iconic locations. You're going to notice 2 of Water Tower Plaza. We really wanted to memorialize Water Tower Plaza of what it looks like today before the renovation. And then also our Hernway hoop lights. And then we just have a snapshot of Gilbert Road. So we do have 6 different little kiosks that are outside our Ash Street parking garage on the hard corner. So we use that to advertise town events in there, but we have about 20 town events a year, which is a lot, but it's not always enough to fill up the area. So we're going to have these posters fill up the kiosks in those Ash Street parking garages to provide a little public art opportunity as a temporary installation when we don't have them fully used to advertise our event. So a fun way to let people know where they are, what those amenities they see are called in the Heritage District if they're not familiar with it. And create a moment that everyone will remember. So it's just a fun little different placemaking opportunity that we provided to try to encourage some additional art in the district. So you may have heard about this already, but we're very exciting. Our wonderful Veterans Board put together this Gilbert Military Tribute Banner Program. So they partnered with this business who completes this all over the nation in order to allow for veterans or our fallen heroes to submit to have banners in the Heritage District. So they will be up for the month of May, and they'll also be up in November. So for Memorial Day and for our Veterans Day, they're going to be up on Gilbert Road, and you see one displayed here where we're going to take down our Heritage District banners and we're going to put those up there to honor those who have served. So this was the first year that they've done the program, so submittals have closed, but next year they are hoping to potentially do the program again, so we'll make sure to push that out and provide that opportunity to our residents and our visitors to submit to have these banners up in the Heritage District, so it's a really wonderful program. Just wanted to quickly go over this if you guys aren't aware as well. So our Parks and Rec department is going through their master planning process for all their parks. They have a myriad of different type of engagement opportunities open right now. You can't see it very well, but if you go to gilbertaz.gov/PR master plan, you can see all the different types of engagement you can do, from surveys to doing an interactive budget exercise to working in an interactive map and posting your ideas, and provide some feedback about how you use our trails, parks, our amenities, and what you'd like to see in the future for Gilbert. As you know, we have 3 public parks in the downtown. We have Water Tower Plaza, we have Page Park, and then we also have our Veterans Park there. So what would you guys like to see for the future for the Heritage District? How can we improve our park system overall? It's a great opportunity to provide feedback. And additionally, we just wanted to provide, we had a couple recognitions in the last month for the Heritage District. First, if you missed it, AZ Big Media posted a really great article about East Valley downtowns, and we have some staff members that are included in there, along with Mayor, about talking about downtown Gilbert and our success there, along with other East Valley downtowns. So check that out if you haven't. We also were featured, all of Gilbert was, but there's also a segment on the Heritage District that highlights Hale Theater and then also Joe's Real Barbecue through Arizona Highways TV. So it's a 20-minute segment. It also highlights the riparian and other great places in town, AZ Goat Yoga. So please check that out if you hadn't had a chance. And then additionally, we won an award from Independent News Media. Downtown Gilbert was voted Best Places to People Watch in 2022, which I think is a really great award, and I think it's very true. So always really exciting to be recognized. And then last portion here, we're just going to do a quick check-in, so this is very brief. As I stated in the beginning of the presentation, we are almost halfway through our 10-year plan, so we just kind of want to check in and see what have we accomplished in these 5 years, where are we going, and kind of figure out our path forward. So not surprisingly, you hear about us talking a lot of things all the time. We are in progress with a lot of the items that we identified as catalyst projects or key projects in the Heritage District. So in the Heritage District, we have 11 things outlined as catalyst projects. So these are supposed to encourage redevelopment or change in the district, or key projects, which are projects that are intended to improve circulation, improve quality of life, and also attract reinvestment. So one of the goals was to complete a RFP for the the South Anchor, which is the development located on the northwest corner of Gilbert Road in Elliott. So that's something that was approved by council in December of 2022. In progress, we have a number of things. So North Anchor, also called Heritage Park. The Commons is a 15,000 square foot park along with 15,000 square foot splash pad that was included in that development agreement, which is considered a key project in the district. Vaughn Ventilator, something we're already working on as well. And then all of the different, called the Paseo in our plan, but Water Tower Way projects, these were all included, the overpass south and north as key projects, and we've been working on those as well. As you know, at the 15% plans, we also included portions of the South Water Tower Way in our development agreement for the South Anchor site, and have recently applied potentially for a federal grant to start the design process for the overpass. And as I previously mentioned, we are currently in design, hoping to break ground on Water Tower Plaza. Improving Water Tower Plaza was an item identified as a goal in the redevelopment plan as well, so we're well on our way for that. Two items that have not been started yet is Living Room Plaza, which is the park that's planned to be adjacent to Water Tower Plaza, currently where the park and ride site is. So that is something that we have not started on, and is in the CIP book as a potential project, but hasn't moved further than that. And then also a neighborhood park. There was a proposed park on the east side of the Heritage District, which is another one that was a goal, but that one hasn't moved forward either. But still, being halfway through 5 years, quite a bit of progress and quite a bit of movement forward. And then in addition to those key projects, we had a number of redevelopment plan area focus goals. So these are more broad categories that had specific goals that we're looking to accomplish in 10 years. So in the completed section, we have special events where we're looking to establish a rhythm of special events. Our Parks and Rec team has done a phenomenal job of that in completing events in the Heritage District on a regular schedule, and they're continuing to work on that as well. Public safety, in the last 5 years, we did add a PD bike team to the downtown. Our police department does. It has a sergeant, and then it also has 6 officers, and they're absolutely phenomenal, and has made a huge difference in the district. In progress, it's a wide list of several items, so there's a number of things we're doing. For example, public parking, we're working on that master plan. Circulation, again, we're working on a master plan. Wayfinding, we just recently kicked off a wayfinding project for the Heritage District that has an estimated completion for the plan by the end of 2023. So there's a number of different things that we have in progress that we're working on to make those goals. Some items that we haven't started is a plan for neighborhood revitalization. So that's something that we're still working through to see how we can best tackle that. And also public art. Again, we talked about kind of those place-making opportunities we're doing. And we have a lot of wonderful business owners and merchants in the district who have provided public art on their physical buildings, but we don't have a specific public art plan or an implementation schedule or standards like some other municipalities or downtowns have. So, and this is a slide that you guys have seen before, but this just kind of has some updated numbers. So kind of on the left-hand side, you're going to see existing developments, and just want to reiterate, this is just commercial developments and multifamily. This doesn't include any single-family homes. So when you add up all those totals, you have about 1 million square feet of development that's in the Heritage District. On the right-hand side, so future development, so this means that this is something that has been approved by the Redevelopment Commission as an approved design review. Primarily, this is the Heritage Park project. We have about 840,000 square feet of approved development. So these projects that are in future development aren't under construction, but those are approved numbers that we're hoping to get constructed in the next 5 years. And again, you've seen this as well. So this is our report for FY22 showing the change over time for the full cash value per acre for the Heritage District. We just added in a couple little numbers there, and it might be difficult to read on your screen, but we just kind of want to display from 2008 to 2018 what the increase was in acreage for the Heritage District, and there was a 101% increase in that 10-year period for land in the Heritage District. So from 2018 to 2022, which is a little under halfway, we seen about a 77% increase. So the way that we're increasing currently right now, we feel very confident that we're going to surpass that goal of 101% for the next completion for 2028. So just another way that we can kind of look at and see how is the Heritage District improving, how is that land doing. It seems to be continuing to increase, and then also it's continuing to outpace the buffer area. So again, in red is the Heritage District, green's the buffer area. It coordinates with the chart to show how the Heritage District is outpacing other areas in Gilbert. And again, you've seen this slide as well for FY22, but just providing that context of those increases. So again, this is sales tax. So from FY 2008 up until the end of 2017 to 2018, we saw a total increase in sales tax generation in the Heritage District of 177% at the midpoint. So this would have been in 2013. We saw a 42% increase. So we don't know, again, what the tenure is for the Heritage District right now, but our midpoint, a little under that, with it being 4 years in the Heritage District for sales tax generation, is at 75%. So again, we're very confident that we would outpace that as well. And that's it for my presentation, and we covered a lot. Are there any questions or any slides you'd like me to go back to?
I have a question. That was excellent. Thank you. Very helpful. Regarding the utility infrastructure study, is that, this is just curiosity, but is that comparing and tracking all the existing infrastructure with the future development plan and seeing how that needs to be, that capacity needs to be increased? And second question, is the town evaluating putting that into programs so that it could become like a BIM city? If you're familiar with that term, maybe.
Chair Clausen, Commissioner Updike. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the BIM city, but for your first question, you are correct. So it does have what's existing on site, and then it also takes the projections that are in our redevelopment plan and then applied it to say this is the capacity at build out. So that's what we're always looking at, is at build out of what we anticipate for the future. So for example, instead of putting in the standard water line that may be needed for the building that's currently on site, we project that that may be a more intense mixed use. So if we were to change it out, we would want to have it upgraded. So I don't know if you would be able to elaborate on the second part of it, and I'd be happy to.
It's something that I have seen in studies that I've read about. It's not something that I've seen a jurisdiction adopt here locally, but it's taking all of that infrastructure knowledge, putting it in 3D programs to make it easier to kind of track problems. If there is a leak, you can better kind of isolate who needs to be notified, you know, where different zones are. So that's, I've read about it again in studies, not seen it. So it was just a curiosity question, but thank you.
Yeah, and Commissioner Updike, just on that, we do have a really phenomenal GIS department that is looking at 3D modeling. I haven't heard that term before, but they are looking at those elements. So there is not a current project, but they are actively exploring different types of 3D software and modeling that's come out, particularly through GIS. So an example is they're looking at ArcGIS indoors to do facility mapping. ArcGIS Urban, combined with some other programs, also does a similar thing where it can go through and it can coordinate with our already existing infrastructure plans. So there is nothing, I can't put them on the spot and say they're going to have anything done tomorrow, but they are actively looking into those types of futuristic 3D modelings to better service our community.
And Sydney, you said the 10-year redevelopment plan was expected to release in August, is that correct?
Chair Clausen, so it's expected to be at its 5-year mark in August of 2023. It was approved in August of 2018.
And the new 2023 update, you said that was going to come out soon?
Chair Clausen, so we will not, we would not look into adopting another redevelopment plan until 2028, when this one sunsets, unless we were directed by our town council to explore that. So most likely to stay on track with that, we would wait until 2028.
Got it, understood, thank you. Yeah, no, and just a comment, I appreciate you putting in the time and effort to update us. I know I've been using that 2018 redevelopment plan for a long time. It's exciting to see a lot of the projects come to fruition and the progress overall that's been made. I know when I first used that plan, a lot of it was conceptual in nature, and so much of it's come to fruition. And, you know, town staff has done an incredible job to see that through. So great job on the presentation, and thank you. With that, Commissioner Bigelow, did you have anything that you wanted to say?
Nope, I'm good. I appreciate it, Sydney. You're awesome. You did a great job presenting this. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, are there any communications from our council liaison, Councilmember Torgerson?
Mr. Chairman, I believe Commissioner Vice Chair Kendall would like to
Yes.
to make a statement.
Sydney, thank you very much for that information. We have a lot of stats on downtown and the generation of tax revenue and buffer zones and those types of things. Is there any comparison or benchmarks to other districts or niche areas, like specifically maybe the Chandler area or even compared to Mesa or parts of downtown Phoenix?
Chair Kloss and Commissioner Kendall, we currently do not track those items, but that's something that we could start looking into. Sometimes it gets hard to compare things directly with other municipalities, depending on how they collect it, but that's something that we can definitely start looking into and see if it's an item we can explore to see how we're benchmarking with other communities.
I really like those posters too. Are those going to be available to the public for possible sale? I know a printer.
Vice Chair Kendall, so right now, we do not have any plans to sell it, but we could potentially in the future, we do have the rights to that art. So currently, we do not. We could distribute it, and we are able, for example, I could give you a gift of a poster right now. So it's something that we could look into, but we don't have plans for currently.
I like the water tower one.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Are there any communications from our council liaison, Councilmember Torgerson?
Thank you, Chairman Clausen. I will forgo the opportunity to be your bootleg printer for the moment, though. Last night, council approved a resolution and approval of the amended transit services intergovernmental agreement with the Regional Transportation Authority to complete a park and ride study, which you're familiar with. As you know, Gilbert's Park and Ride is currently located at the Heritage District. This project will allow Gilbert to examine potential relocation options for the park and ride. The timing of the study is necessary as the Heritage District Ash Street realignment project is set to start design in fiscal year '24, and this project, when built, will directly impact the park and ride. An additional project of note is the RAISE grant for the Water Tower Way Bridge. Water Tower Way, known as the Paseo on the redevelopment plan, is a bicycle and pedestrian pathway which traverses the entire district north to south with an overpass connection as the current Ash Street connecting to Veterans Park. Again, this bridge will also be pedestrian bicycle only. In February, council adopted a resolution authorizing the town council to apply, or the town of Gilbert rather, to apply for a RAISE grant to develop this grade-separated pedestrian crossing. This grant would take the grade-separated crossing through the design completion. In addition, last night, council authorized the town to apply for an AZ Smart Fund Match Award to potentially pay the town's portion of the local match, 20% of the RAISE grant. I also want to provide a couple of town-wide notes. Details for the next items can be found in Gilbert's website. Gilbert is seeking applicants for volunteers to serve on the Veterans Advisory Board, and applications are due Sunday, April 30th. On April 26th at 5 p.m. at the Southeast Regional Library, the Gilbert Leadership Class 31 is holding an evening learning event focused on mental health awareness and suicide prevention. Attendees will learn tools to support their mental health and will also be certified as a QPR gatekeeper, meaning that they will learn the warning signs to watch for and how to assist individuals who may have suicidal thoughts. Boy, that segue is funny in the next week. Bring the family out to the regional park on Friday, April 28th for Gilbert's Movie in the Park. The movie showing will be Top Gun Maverick. Wow, that's actually kind of current for that, isn't it? Finally, on May 5th, as part of the Gilbert Regional Family Nights, families are invited to the Regional Park at 7 p.m. for Tatiana Crespo and Band, and the music style ranges from Cumbias? Cumbias, wow. Man, out of my wheelhouse there. And Folklorico, well, there you go, way out of my wheelhouse, to waltzes and bossa nova. And that would be all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Councilmember Torgerson. Commissioners, do you have any updates that you would like to share? Amanda, is there a report from staff?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I just wanted to make one note that we, in the Office of Economic Development, had worked to realign the position for Sydney Bethel Price from redevelopment specialist to a redevelopment project manager. And so Sydney's been with the town for 5 years. 3 years she spent in our planning department. And she worked on projects like the rooftop signage and also Oso Park. And she's also been with us for 2 years, and we've been so fortunate to have her. She has her AICP certification. She has a master's in urban planning, and she was also selected as a participant for the International Downtown Association's Emerging Leader Fellowship. They select 30 or less applicants worldwide each year. And so it's a real honor to have her participate in that, and we're just, with all of the work she's done and the roles and responsibilities she's taken on, we're just so enthusiastic to have her as our project manager. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I would agree. We're very lucky to have Sydney. Congratulations. That's an outstanding, outstanding achievements. Well, with that, 6:41 and meeting adjourned. Do I have to?
Cumbia. It's kind of like, it's got like the shakers, and then what's the?
Does it have more cowbell? That's all that matters.
Oh, that is one of the best things I've ever seen, by the way.
If you, this is what makes it especially funny for people like me growing up in LA.